this is a bit odd. It's perfectly okay. It's enjoyable, actually, but it's a bit weird. It's based on a true story, and it's a Netflix movie, and it's The Boneyard, which is, or just Boneyard, not The Boneyard. It's got Mel Gibson in it. People say he's being rehabilitated after some, issues he's had. He's directing again and all of that. He plays Agent Petrovich in this. What's happened is that there is somebody's found a boneyard. So it's previous deaths, and it'll be a cold case, or well, it's not even a cold case, is it? I suppose they're linking up deaths of mainly prostitutes, and to have a look at that, they've called in Mel Gibson as Agent Petrovich. Now, he comes in with all guns blazing as Agent Petrovich. He starts off, and he's got a voiceover with a kind of, people say that you go through the pain and then you get to the learning and then you get something like that. And he said, I'm still trying to get through the pain, all of that. And he's carrying some sort of, says you must be vigilant at all times, because he's carrying some sort of upsetting about his daughter. She was killed while he was changing her tyre. He didn't realise that somebody who he was good at, a gang person, it's not really important. Somebody just shot his daughter dead, and he'll never forget it. Of course he won't. And he is in his motel room looking at the wall. You've got the wall where you've got lots of pictures of lots of victims and, the bits from the paper and then string or wool coming from one to the other. Well, his has got loads of pictures of, and the things from the paper. And then the wool is all over the place. You can't really see what bits come from where. So much as he's thought that's what it's supposed to look like. Mine doesn't look like everybody else's. They have to go back and look at the Bone Collector or something like that. They do mention the words Bone Collector at some point. That's a different movie, folks. So it's almost as if he's just put a load of strings on it, because it looks like that. That looks good, doesn't it? Anyway, he comes in with all guns blazing. It's a strange performance to begin with. He's not in it that much, to be honest, and he calms down. But the first time he's in there, he's got a sort of wild-eyed look of somebody who you think, are you on something? As a character, are we going to find out that you're some kind of, like a sort of, Dwight Schultz thing in the A-Team. I ain't getting on no plane. That's not Dwight Schultz, but there you go. I always have to do that whenever I took out the A-Team. I ain't getting on no plane. Anyway, drink this milk, BA. Okay. Ooh. Yeah. Anyway, that kind of, mad dog thing of, oh, well, he's a bit odd. Well, he's probably mentally ill, so we really shouldn't talk that way about him, should we? But he's got a kind of wild-eyed... It's really entertaining, but I suppose a kind of Lethal Weapon thing. Remember this? When I was like this, a bit like that. He calms down then, because the rest of the stuff that he's got in there, it's pulled in. The poster's got him on it. It's a Netflix movie, this. And you sort of think, well, he's not been in it much. And I watched it for him, really. And myself and my friend Alan, hello Alan, did watch for that reason. The whole idea is that there are... When the cold case arrives, lots and lots of people are involved in it. So you've got Special Agent Ortega, is he called that? Detective Ortega. Brian Van Holt doing a kind of, I'm going to find this. I'm going to really find it. I'm going to, I'm really committed. And he's going off beam a lot of the time. Detective Young, Nora Zetner is his kind of his partner, but he never refers to her. Bother at all. You've got Curtis Jackson, Fiddy Sant, who's put a bit of timber on since he had that big worked out thing. He's a sergeant. He's chief. He's Chief Carter. He's only just hanging on, to be honest. I don't think he really knows quite what character to play, so he decides not to bother. It's too much trouble, so I decided not to bother. It's been directed. I'm looking at this by Asif Akbar with a kind of not made for TV but made for streaming services. Perfectly acceptable, but you're not going to get any kind of directorial decisions on this one. that kind of thing. You're not going to think, oh, that's a real auteur situation. You know, it's perfectly fine. And you get a lot of people who, so what you get is, well, Ortega's niece is someone who's been killed. So you've got that as well. You've got someone who is, I mean, the guy is just, he's giving you so many ticks and all of that kind of stuff. Western Cage is Cesar Monteau, who's got so many kind of, he scares a woman in a 7-Eleven because really he does look like, he might as well be wearing a t-shirt saying, I'm going to walk you home and kill you on it. You know, we think it might be him. In the meantime, we've got another police chief, not Fiddy, who seems to be completely okay, but who's that? Is that who's that one? That's Chief Carter, Western Cage. Who else have we got? We've got another one there's another guy who I can't see him next because he's not Special Agent Womack. That's Gail O'Grady, who comes in to help Special Agent Petrovic for no reason at all. Suddenly there, you've got all the elements, but there's no reason. Nothing is tied up. I'm going to try and not give you any spoilers, but there will be some spoilers here. So, you know, we're going back and flashing back to, you know, there are lots of women who Ortega knows because he knows the prostitutes in the area, looks out for them and all that kind of stuff. And one of them says, well, I'll give you a statement. So there's lots of, and there is another prostitute who has escaped. So they're played back in reconstructions, and you see a guy with a beard and all of that, and you think, well, that Cesar Monteau's got a beard, hasn't he? And there's another guy who is another police chief type who is clearly involved in some kind of nefarious activity. I don't quite know what. So he's not. And then there's another policeman called Tate, who is thought of as being someone who, he now no longer works Vice, he works narcotics because he had a predilection, it seems, for women. And he would say, I can probably get you off this arrest if you do something good for me. So he liked to do that with the girls who were working the street, with the sex workers. So they think it might be him. He hasn't got a beard though, so it can't be him. But certainly his boss is very angry about that. But his boss seems to be working for some kind of drug cartel. So he's arrested as well. It's all over the shop, this. And then you've got, so we get the old Boneyard. Spoiler alert, nobody is picked up for it. Cesar Monteau is picked up because he's doing it now. You see him strangling a sex worker. So he's doing it now. And then we get the sort of a bit at the end, which we found a new Boneyard. Well, you will do, because it's Cesar. We've already seen him. It's no surprise. I'm really surprised. Are you? But I thought he was arrested. Did I miss that? So no one is fingered at all or picked up for the Boneyard, the old Boneyard. It is a real story. It's a true story, or true story, but that gives you a really, really inconsequential ending. There is no big ending. There's no big reveal. It could be any of these people. It could be 4 or 5 of these people. It's none of them, folks. Well, who is it then? We don't know. Well, you're not going to suggest anything? No. See ya. And Mel Gibson's not in it much either. It's deeply unsatisfying. And it really has one of those kind of made-for-TV feels to it. It doesn't look like one, but it feels like we're banging the plot in here because there's nothing at the end. So we've got to give you loads of stuff to keep you involved. But if you bang the plot in and you suggest it's other people, if it's not one of them, we're going to be a bit pissed off. And I know I was. Ta-ta.